Hello, and thank you so much for dropping by this video. This channel is dedicated to talking about the difference between traditional Advaita Vedanta non-duality and delusional, watered down non-duality called Neo-Advaita. I call it what it is, fake non-duality. Very warm welcome. So, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The process of recovering from Neo-Advaita is this ongoing peeling back of layers. And it just keeps going and going. It's Neo-Advaita is illusion upon illusion upon delusion upon distortion. But I feel like I've finally seen the bottom delusion. And you know, the easy one to spot is the idea you don't exist. The world doesn't exist. That's kind of one of the very fundamental fake non-duality delusions. But there's one underneath that that's even, in my view, is even more harmful. And it's the conclusion. Neo-Advaita just pushes, I'm looking for other words, cajoles, like I can't think of all the words, just Neo-Advaita moves everything. It moves you towards one ultimate conclusion. Life is meaningless. Everything is meaningless. It's ultimate nihilism. It's ultimate nihilism. It's ultimate, you know, I reached a point where I remember so clearly where I was experiencing just a non-dual state where there was just pure emptiness. There wasn't really a sense of me. There was no sense of meaning. There was no desire. And it felt utterly and completely empty. You know, it's funny, actually. This is talked about in the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right in the very beginning. This monk talks about how he got to this place of just pure emptiness, but it didn't feel right. Or I won't say pure emptiness, this state of emptiness. And that's what I felt so strongly, is that something was fundamentally missing. And it's such a paradox because, like I said, the experience was primarily emptiness and nothingness. Yet there was this very clear knowing that something was missing. I didn't know what it was at the time. That was, gosh, that was almost 4 years ago. I'd already begun to overcome Neo-Advaita. And what I can say now is what was missing is meaning. Because traditional Advaita Vedanta, traditional non-duality is grounded in meaning. It's grounded in the idea of being of service to life and participation in life. And it's grounded in the idea of taking your talents, abilities, and gifts and putting them to service. And it's grounded in the idea of having harmonious relationships with your family, with your neighbors, with your people at work, with people you meet. And it's grounded in devotion, in love there's different terms for it in traditional non-duality, devotion to Bhagavan or Ishvara, in essence, devotion to God. So traditional non-duality is not just a dissociated state of consciousness, it's a way of life that allows you to live and express oneness, to transform your self-centered desires into the desire to serve everyone and everything. For if you experience and know oneness, then all of this is you. And what are you going to do but be kind towards it and serve it? Welcome to my live viewers. Feel free to post any comments or questions. And so that's the main difference. Is traditional Advaita is about integrating a state of consciousness into your life and living it. Neo-Advaita is literally just about trancing out. And it offers no compass for how to live. Yes, it will give spiritual experiences and sometimes profound spiritual experiences. But what it won't do is it won't give any meaning. And that spiritual experience will ultimately be empty and not in some good, pure spiritual way, but in a truly existentially crushing way. You know, Ramana Maharshi said that bhakti, devotion, that devotion leads to knowledge in the sense of like enlightenment knowledge. But he also said knowledge leads to devotion. So if you meet someone who isn't living a life of devotion, they don't have knowledge in the sense of knowledge with a capital K, like knowing the self and knowing the absolute. One leads to the other. So if you don't find someone who's like in love with God and devoted to service, they don't have full knowledge. They don't have knowledge, again, in the capital K sense of the word, in the sense of enlightenment or liberation. Because it's so easy. And I should have said this right at the start. Again, I'm not a guru. That's not my role here. My role here is to help people learn the difference between fake non-duality and authentic, and then point them towards authentic non-dual teachers. So it's so easy for people to get up and give talks on non-duality. If you give me a half hour and someone who's an okay actor or actress, I could coach them how to give a Neo-Advaita satsang. And it'd be very convincing. It might take an hour because it's just a word game that has no connection with life, that has no connection with an integrated life. And if your spiritual practice isn't integrated into your life, like it's okay to sit down and do 20 minutes of meditation for like stress relief or relaxation and then get up and do your life. Like that's fine. But Neo-Advaita doesn't present itself as a form of stress, a de-stressor or relaxation. And it creates a complete disconnect between the people around. I'll speak for myself. It created disconnect between the people around me, between the environment, and between myself. Another way you can spot Neo-Advaita teachers is it's very robotic and repetitive. Whereas Ramana Maharshi was very spontaneous. He was a very alive person. He loved God. He was constantly studying and translating classical texts. He was a mountaineer. Like he climbed all over the mountain. Arunachala. He wrote love poems to God. He joked around with people. Sometimes he would sit in silence. Like he was just being himself. And not in some mystic sense of the word, though that was part of it, but he was just being authentic and real. And that's what's missing in Neo-Advaita, is that realness and that integration and authenticity. So that's everything. Oh, 3 live viewers. Hello, welcome. Any questions or comments? I'm wrapped up with what I want to share about. And so just to finish up what I started with. So without that sense of integration, without that, and that integration coming through the practices of karma yoga, of service and duty, doing one's duty, without that sense of devotion to God, Neo-Advaita took me to a place of just utter meaninglessness. And so a big part of how I recovered is I refused to, and I to this day, I refuse to listen to or watch or read anything about non-duality that isn't from a traditional teacher. Like every now and then I'll glance at something and then I'll write something about it, or I'll make a video about it. But I literally will have nothing to do with Neo-Advaita because I've realized it's insanity. It looks like someone's like pressing the emoji button. Okay, all these emojis are flashing up on my screen. Thank you, thank you. Last call for questions or comments. All right, beautiful souls. Thank you so very much. I wish you a blessed Neo-Advaita free day. Take care.